Can everyone hear me? Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Ayesha, and I just want to say a big thank you to the Salam Center for doing these innovative talks during Ramadan. I'm hoping this is something that more masajids and mosques can do in the future, inshallah. So I was asked by Brother Miqdad to speak to you today about something I'm passionate about. And I thought it would be weird if I spoke to you about science fiction films or my love for cricket. So the one thing I landed on was politics. But I'm not going to be speaking to you today about the importance of voting or how to become an activist, but more specifically to speak to you about advocacy and the role it plays in changing policy and also changing our society for the better. So before I get into the boring stuff of my talk, I thought I'd share a story with you on how my interest in politics and advocacy came about. So when I was 8 years old, my mum was driving me to school and we encountered some roadworks which made me late, and I was told off really badly by my teacher. So enraged with this injustice, I went home and I told my dad what had happened. And he said to me, "So what are you going to do about it?" And I said, I don't know. What can I do about it? And he gave me the most British response anyone can ever give you in your life. And he told me to write a letter of complaint. So I said, okay, I'll write this letter. Who's in charge? And he said, oh, it's, your head teacher. I said, no. Who's in charge of the country? And he said, oh, well, that's the Prime Minister. And I said, great. So I got my pen and paper and I wrote a letter to the Prime Minister. And a couple of weeks later, I actually received a response from him, directly from him. He apologized to me that I was scolded by my teacher, and he told me that he had written to the Secretary of State for Transport, attaching my very formal letter, and assured me that the matter would be looked into. But the reason I'm telling you this story is because it acts as a good reminder of what you can achieve when you use your voice, and also what you can achieve when you have access as well. And this is really what the essence of advocacy is about. It's about using your voice, shaping your message in order to influence those decision makers to make change. Now, I myself work in public affairs. So this is about creating those influencing strategies using various techniques in order to lobby on behalf of a community or an organization. Now, the word lobbying has become a bit of a dirty word. Many have negative connotations to it. But let me assure you, the type of lobbying I'm referring to isn't like that Netflix show House of Cards or anything you see on American TV. It's very different to that. Political lobbying is being able to win over your elected representatives in order to change laws or create new legislation. And at the heart of this is building and maintaining relationships with those decision makers. And in my case, it's with politicians, parliamentarians, and ministers. And there are a number of different ways of doing this. I won't bore you with all the technical details, but there's meeting them, offering them advice, guidance, giving them the facts and the figures and the information they need in order to understand what the issue is you're campaigning on and why it's so important to you. And this also means sometimes engaging with people who we may not agree with and who may not agree with us. But as I mentioned in my story earlier, it's all about having that access. But why is this important? Why is this important for all our sisters in this room and the brothers in the other? Why is it important to our community here and now? Well, I've worked in this sector for 5 years, and I've noticed that there aren't many professionals who look or sound anything like me. Not many are women, not many are from ethnic backgrounds, and not many are Muslim. And now, more than ever, when minority groups need to be protected and safeguarded, we must ensure that we are represented and work in these roles where we have access to those decision makers and access to the ears of those in power, the ears of those who are changing our laws, who are shaping our futures, who are telling us what our kids should learn and how we should abide by the laws of our society. But yes, the tide is changing. We are seeing more Muslims working in the civil service and in parliament, which is fantastic. But this sector, the sector I'm talking about, is truly lacking diversity. So I just want to leave you with some parting thoughts to ponder over, as I know everyone's probably really hungry and waiting for iftar. When we think of our future generations, all these kids here in this room right now, how are we ensuring that their voices are going to be heard beyond traditional activism? How are we ensuring that they have a seat at the table, that they are shaping their own narratives and breaking down the misconceptions people have of Muslims, the misconceptions people have of ethnic minority groups? For me, I believe we must step outside of those rooms where everyone looks and sounds just like us, and instead be present in those rooms where we may seem like the odd one out. We must encourage the next generation to understand the importance of advocacy and how they can shape their futures and how they can get involved. Because then, only then, when there are many more of us in that room, can we truly make a difference. Jazakallah khair, everyone. Thank you so much.